Hi, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for joining me today for another yoga flow. Today I'm going to be taking you through a vinyasa style flow, about 30 minutes, definitely beginner friendly, and it's going to be themed through a flow. So the theme is flow, being very fluid, the theme of fluidity, and where in our lives, in our different bodies, we can apply the theme of fluidity, flowing through it, and being okay with not controlling something and just going through the movements rather than trying to stop things from changing or happening, rather than just seeing what happens as we move. So that's the theme for today. If you can hear a little bit of this, they just started working on my roof. I apologize about that if you can't hear it. I'm using a directional mic, so hopefully you can't, but we will get started. Definitely beginner friendly. If you have some blocks or straps, you are more than welcome to grab those at this time. You can definitely use them, and I'll show you where you can use them. But otherwise, we're just gonna get started in our easy pose. We're gonna get moving, right? We're gonna get fluid with it. So we're gonna start in prayer and easy pose. Again, grounding our sit bone into the mat with all four corners of it, seated nice and tall. Maybe if we find that we're rounded through the shoulders, we just give a little gentle pinch to the scapulas to bring them together, really lifting and lengthening through the back and the chest. Bringing hands to prayer. On inhale, we're going to bring hands up overhead. Very good. You can even glance up if you'd like. And on the exhale, we're going to bring hands down to the knees, seated nice and tall, okay? So inhale, hands come up. Exhale, you can even make a big circle with the arms. Bring them down to the knees, and then keep that movement going. So as you inhale, hands come up and together. Exhale, hands come down to the legs. Inhaling once more to bring it up. And exhaling to bring down to the sides. We'll do two more of those, just some gentle arm movements as we breathe in and exhale to release. Last one, inhaling together and exhaling to release. Very well done. On the inhale, again, bringing those hands up overhead, you're going to exhale, left hand down to right knee. Right hand comes behind. Simple little back twist here. Holding, just 2 deep breaths. Good. Inhale, bring the hands back up, switch sides on the exhale. Seated twist once more. You can also bring a block behind back for the hand that's reaching behind you. That helps you to give it a little bit more leverage here. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Bring the hands back to our prayer pose, and from here we're going to bring them straight to fingers touching the elbows. If you can't shoulders. If you can't fully touch your shoulders, that's okay. They can kind of be in this general vicinity, okay? Once we're here, we're going to take a nice deep inhale and exhale as we bring elbows forward. Inhale, bring them up and around. Okay, so exhale to bring forward, up and around. Now we're going to take this movement 3 more times. Warming up the shoulders here just a little bit, basically making shoulder circles. One more time here. And then we're going to bring it to a little bit of circle of joy. So bringing the hands back to our prayer. I'm going to actually turn to the long edge of the mat so you can see a little bit better. We're going to nice deep inhale as we push our hands forward, gently looking down towards the mat. As we exhale, start to bring those hands up, all the way up overhead, all the way down, inhaling, and then exhaling to bring them back to center, to do it all over again. So lifting up, lowering on exhale, inhaling, hands out in front. Good. 3 more. Really imagining an energy brought between the hands, coming up, a beautiful radiant light coming and showering over you. And just do that one more time. Good. And then once you bring the hands into that center position, or that first position, you can just exhale. Bring the hands back to prayer, to our starting posture. Very good. Let's take it over to tabletop. I know this is a little bit more fast-paced than our normal flows, but that's just because, again, we're really trying to be fluid with these movements. We're not trying to stay stagnant for too long. Of course, we are doing it in some poses, but otherwise, we're going for it. So coming into tabletop, we're going to take a bit of a cat-cow to child's pose flow. So starting in tabletop with shoulders over elbows over wrists and knees under the hips. You can always take a block here if that helps and supports your wrists. You can also roll your yoga mat to be under your feet if you want a little bit of support there, or under the knees. Once we're here, we're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze real quick. Get a little ab stretch before we begin, and then exhale, round, contract through the spine. Bring the big toes together as you send the hips back. Melt the chest down towards the mat. Child's pose, okay? Inhale to come up, back to your tabletop. Drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round and contract here. Nice deep inhale to back to tabletop. Bring the knees together. Send it backwards to child's pose. Inhale to come up and drop the belly. All right, we're going to do that 2 more times. So round to contract through the spine on the exhale. Toes touch. Send it back. Inhale to come back up to that tabletop position. Drop the belly, lift the gaze here. One last time as we exhale, round, contract through the spine. Tuck the toes, take a breath, send the hips back. Come on up back to that tabletop and drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale to return back to tabletop position. Very good. Let's thread the needle. Take a nice deep inhale as you bring the right hand up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, thread it under the left. The left hand reaches up towards the mat, the top of the mat, or to a block if you'd like. Holding here 3 breaths. Taking a moment in the middle of our flow just to pause and reflect. Pause and stretch here. Good. Inhale, slide that left hand back, directly in front of the face. Lift back up to tabletop and switch sides. Inhale, left hand comes up. Exhale, thread under the right. Right arm reaches up to grab either a block or the mat. Very good. Inhale, slide that hand back. Reach up, coming back to your tabletop, and we're going to take a bit of a flow here. So however you want to come to stand, you can do so at this time. Rolling up inch by inch, you're going to invite your feet to come directly under your knees, under your hips. So the legs are about hip width distance apart. We're going to roll up, reach all the way up with the fingertips on an inhale, and then we're going to exhale to fold here. Invitation to grab a block, if that better helps you come and stay into this forward fold, but we're not here for long. On the inhale, you're going to bring your hands directly above your knees, and the trick with this pose is we want to try to keep a nice flat back, so we're not trying to dip super far. We're kind of holding here. You're going to exhale, plant the palms to the mat, step back into our plank pose, lower all the way down to the floor, untuck the toes, press to lift, coming into cobra. Exhale, lower back down to the mat, tuck the toes, lift through the hips to our downward facing dog. Step or walk your feet towards the hands. Come into a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale to fold. Pressing up. Inhale, reach all the way up. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down to frame the hips. You just did a sun salutation. Let's do it one last time. We're going to do it a little bit faster this time. So plant the feet. Again, hip width distance apart. Palms face forward towards the top of the mat. Coming into a nice strong mountain pose here. And let's begin. Inhale, lift the hands all the way up overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Plant the palms, step back, plank pose. Exhale all the way down to the mat. Keep those elbows in. Inhale, lift, cobra. Exhale, lower back down, tuck the toes and lift to downward dog. Step towards the hands, towards the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, forward fold. Inhale, press up and away from the mat. Nice and slow, hands come all the way up, extended mountain. Exhale, hands come back to frame the hips. Very well done. Take a moment here in this mountain pose just to reflect on the fluidity and the work we've done thus far. Very good. Let's keep it going. Where we inhale, lift the hands back up, coming back into that extended mountain. Exhale to fold down to the floor, plant the palms, and just step back into our downward facing dog, okay? First downward facing dog that we're holding for today. So I invite you at this time with these 3 breaths that we're in this pose to do whatever feels good. So in the theme of fluidity, you can walk the dog, as they say, alternating lifting each heel. You can also place blocks under the wrists, again, if you want that little extra support. You can bend into one leg and gently imagine pulling the chest towards that knee that's bent, and then switching sides. Whatever little movement feels good here. 2 more breaths. Good. And let's come into a 3-legged dog. So left foot is going to stay on the mat. Kick the right foot straight back, okay? And as you take a big inhale, you're bringing that foot back, and as you exhale, bend at the knee, guide it forward, coming into almost a crunch, guiding that knee almost in between your hands. Inhale to send it back. Okay, we're going to do 2 more of those. You got this. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, bring it in. This time we're going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, shoot it back. Very well done. Don't worry, we're not staying. You are going to look between your fingers and step that foot. Great time to grab the blocks for this low lunge here that we're about to come into, to give your hands and those wrists a little bit more support, the body a little bit more support. Otherwise, we're going to exhale, untuck this back leg, knee comes down to the mat, top of the foot, back down to the mat. And we're going to look beyond the top of the yoga mat, really melting into this left hip here, okay? From here, we're going to take a hamstring stretch. So we're not here for super long. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, exhale, send the hips back just enough to straighten this front leg, flexing the toes towards the head as we try to melt the chest, melt the head down towards the knee, okay? Inhale to low lunge, exhale to crescent. Good, we're gonna do this 3 more times. Inhale to lunge, exhale to crescent. Good, 2 more. Inhale, exhale. Good, on this inhale, we're actually gonna hold it 2 deep breaths. This is our last one. Again, melting into that hip. And exhale, send the hips back, flex that front foot, 2 deep breaths here. Good, inhale, return to that low lunge, hands frame the foot, tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, and just bring it in ever so slightly, okay? Once that back foot is just a little bit farther in than it was before, you're going to slightly turn it to about the top left corner of the mat. Again, really great time to grab your blocks. If you are using blocks, you're gonna bring them just a little bit in front of your toes and where your toes end. If you're not using blocks, that's totally fine as well. Same thing, you're gonna bring your hands just a little bit in front of where your big toe ends. And once you're here, you're going to straighten through that front leg and try to melt the head down towards this knee. Now, feel free to shorten this stance as much or as little as you need to, okay? And then we're going to turn back toes, bend on inhale back into our runner's lunge, okay? So exhale, straighten, turn the back toes. Inhale, turn the back toes forward facing, bend into that knee, hands come back, runner's lunge. Exhale, turn the back foot, walk the hands forward, hold here. One last time, turn the back toes forward, walk the hands in, runner's lunge. Exhale, turn the back toes, walk the hands out, hold. Now we're holding 3 deep breaths. Breathe here. I'm going to grab a block for this next one. I'm going to bring it to the outer edge of my right foot. Right hand is going to stay on the block. Left hand is going to come up, a little twist here. Holding 3 deep breaths. If you are able to, looking up at the left hand. Very good. We're going to look down at the mat, bend into that right knee. Left hand comes down to the mat, back toes turn forward. We're back in our runner's lunge, and we are just going to exhale, step it back to plank. Hold here for a breath. Exhale to lower. Tuck the back toes, or untuck. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Tuck the toes, lift. Downward dog. Gently bring the knees to the width of the mat. Big toes touch. Send the hips back. Child's pose. Now, if you want a little bit more support in this child's pose, you can always take a block. You can slide it under the pelvis and lower down. If anything, you can also bring the knees in closer together, so about hip width distance apart. You can take that, or put a blanket under about where your sit bone would be, even a block, and just kind of shorten the distance the body has to travel, okay? So whichever way you take your child's pose, we're going to hang out here for about 5 deep breaths. If the uncomfort, or if there's any uncomfort that arrives in the upper body, you can always take my favorite variation, which is to stack one arm on top of the other and gently place the head. Just recounting your experience as you've been flowing today. Two more breaths here. Very good. If your hands were folded, reach them out towards the top of the mat. Inhale to come up, tuck the back toes, lift to return to our downward facing dog. We're going to waste no time. We're going straight into the left side. So on the inhale, left leg kicks up and back. And on the exhale, bend that knee and imagine bringing it and guiding it in between the hands. Inhale to send it back. Good. Exhale to bring it in. Inhale to send it back. Exhale to bring it in. Last one. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, bring it in. Hold here. And send it back. Good. Look between the hands. Step that left foot through, coming into our runner's lunge initially. Exhale to lower that right knee, untuck the foot, look forward. We are in our low lunge, really melting that right hip. Or melting into that right hip, I should say. Hands on blocks or the mat. Send on the exhale those hips back. Flex through that left foot, and then inhale to come back to our low lunge, okay? We're gonna do that 3 more times. Exhale to send it back, flex the toes, melt the head. Inhale, low lunge. Good. Exhale, shoot it back. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale to shoot it back. Inhale to low lunge. Hold here 2 deep breaths. Good. On the next exhale, shoot it on back. Flex that foot. 2 deep breaths. And inhale, coming back to low lunge, tucking the back toe, lifting the back leg, runner's lunge. You can feel free to shorten the distance just a little bit. We're taking that same triangle flow we did on the other side, turning the back toe so it's facing about the right corner of the mat. From here, you are going to straighten that left leg, reaching the hands just beyond the toes, okay? Always grab blocks, and if reaching beyond the toes is a little much, you can always just frame the feet, okay? Inhale, bend the back knee, runner's lunge. Exhale, turn the back foot, straighten, melt the head down. Good. Inhale, runner's lunge. Good. Exhale, turn the foot, extend. Inhale, walk the hands back in, runner's lunge. Exhale, turn that back foot, holding here. Last one. Good. Again, this is where I'm going to grab a block and bring it to the outer left side of my foot, my left foot. Left hand stays in the block, right hand comes up. Little twist here, little twist. Looking up at the right hand if you can, holding. And exhale, bend into that front knee. Hand comes back down to the mat, turn the back toes forward. We're back once more in that runner's lunge. And let's take our flow, where we inhale, step it back to plank. We exhale, lower all the way down to the mat, untuck, lift up, inhale to cobra. Exhale, lower back down, tuck the toes, lift the hips, down dog, and come into whatever variation of child's pose you took previous. And we're here for 6 deep breaths. Checking in with the body, seeing how it feels after we've taken all these flows now on both sides. Thinking on fluidity. How does it feel to physically practice fluidity? And where in your life can we be more fluid? Be more like the movements we're taking today. Be more breath and body. Okay, 3 more deep breaths here as we think on that and rest before we come into our cool down. Very good. In the spirit of fluidity, let's continue with another flow. Reaching the hands up towards the top of the mat if they were not already. And as you inhale, rounding through the back, sending the feet straight behind you, just to lower down onto the mat. We're going to come into crocodile, so bringing one forearm onto the mat, the other forearm on top, and resting the head here. On the inhale, we're going to take a nice deep breath here. Exhale, kick the feet off the mat, and bring them to about a 90-degree angle here. Scoot away from the wall if you're near one. Take a nice deep inhale as you drop the legs over to the right side. Exhale, come up. Inhale, drop them over to the left. So we're kind of doing a windshield wiper motion here, flipped. So just breathe as you drop. Might hear a little popping, a little bit of cracking, it's totally fine. As long as it's not painful, you are all good. We're going to do that 3 more times. One last time. Very good. Oh, we're going to flip on over to our backs here. Couple more poses. We're going to, on the exhale once more, kick the feet off the mat. We're going to bring the hands onto the knees. And we're just going to rock back and forth. Just for a couple breaths. Giving the back a nice little bit of compression here. Good. Last pose. Keep the left foot on the mat. The right hand is going to grab the outer right edge of the foot and bring it upwards so it creates a 90-degree angle with the knee, or come straight up over the knee. I like to let my left leg kind of fall out to the left side for this. We're going to take a half child's pose here. I feel like it really anchors my body and keeps me from rocking over to the other side. So once here, we're just going to hold here, and hold 3 breaths. Good. You can bring this left foot up and send the right foot down to meet it, and we'll just switch sides. exhale, or inhale, I'm sorry, bring both feet back down towards the mat. You can now have your choice of corpse pose, where you let the feet go flat, legs flat, down towards the bottom of the mat. Hands are sides, the hips open to receiving, palms facing up, or feet to the width of the mat, knees fall into each other. We prefer for the low back, or you can also take a seated upright position. Whatever calls to you, whatever feels better for you, I will invite you to take that variation at this time and get settled. As you get settled into the Shavasana, I'll invite you to close your eyes without force, so maybe you gently blink a couple times just to make sure the eyes are closing nice and gently. Making sure really quick throughout the whole body we are not willingly holding on to tension. We are being, again, fluid, so maybe imagining with every exhale a part of our body just releases more tension and releases. Maybe the jaw isn't so tight anymore, maybe the mouth lightly parts open. The hands are again open to receiving, palms facing forward, we're not making fists. And we're just gonna hold here. And I want you, for the remainder of this class, just a couple moments to think on the fluidity we just practiced. So what does fluidity mean to you? And where in your life could you benefit from more fluidity, or being a little bit more fluid? We have just a couple moments here to really enjoy the practice that we've taken today and really enjoy the work that we've put ourselves through, all for the better. So just take a couple moments and I will wake you when it's time to come up. You can gently begin to bring yourself back to consciousness. Maybe you wiggle fingers and toes. Make some gentle movements with the body. Maybe you smile. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And as you're ready, you can gently blink the eyes open, readjusting to the light, and join me in seated posture as you are ready. We will finish today's class by inhaling, lifting hands up overhead, imagining holding everything that we've created or realized for ourselves today in our hands. And as we exhale, we bring all of it down to our heart centers where it never leaves. Bowing forward, namaste. Thank you so much for flowing with me. It's been my pleasure to take you through this fluid flow, and I can't wait to see you again. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.